I hope Star Trek never reveals more about the Borg, like where or when they come from. I love the Borg because their presence always sparks uncertainty about how the situation will play out. And the mystery surrounding them is a big reason they have become such a terrifyingly fascinating staple in the Star Trek timeline. The Borg's continued appearances in Star Trek have made them a staple in the franchise. But I don't think they would be as successful if we knew more about them. Many villains in Star Trek have backstories, but sometimes that takes away from their effect. Since the Borg first appeared in Star Trek, The Next Generation, their mystery has made them one of the main villains in Star Trek TV shows and movies. With continued comebacks over the years, the Borg are instantly recognizable in almost any setting of the Star Trek canon, and their presence has become synonymous with fear. I think a deep dive into their backstory would strip the Borg of this ability to strike fear. So I hope Star Trek never reveals more about them. Villains are at their best when they come out of nowhere because the element of surprise contributes to the shock value that ultimately decides whether the audience buys into the villain's effectiveness. The Borg have always had the ability to increase a Star Trek show or movie's creepiness, but if we knew why, it wouldn't be as creepy. For example, Star Trek. First Contact's Borg Queen origin was never specified or explained, which added to the Queen's enigmatic nature and supplied the movie and subsequent Star Trek projects with plenty of mysterious Borg appearances. Every time the Borg return to the screen, I find them just as chilling as the first time I saw them in Star Trek: The Next Generation. While I know the Borg have a recognizable pattern of behavior, the lack of information about them leaves room for major surprises. Every Borg ship that appears on the screen comes with alarming questions. How many Borg are there? Is this ship alone? Will my favorite characters be assimilated? The Borg balance mystery and a storied history in Star Trek, providing the audience with just the right amount of knowledge about them. Asking questions about the Borg is much more entertaining than getting the answers. Having unanswered questions makes viewers more likely to be interested in the Borg's further appearances, either as villains or former Borg turned allies. Characters like Seven of Nine, Jeri Ryan, and would-be Borg King Jack Crusher, Ed Speleers, as Vox of Borg provide even more complex aspects of the Borg and make them seem more human. Even so, the Borg continue to prove they cannot be entirely changed or redeemed, and this continued theme of being too far gone makes them the ultimate villain. If Star Trek explained the origin of the Borg, they would be less exciting villains because we would know their motivation beyond simple assimilation. The Borg's chilling mission is worsened by not knowing why they want to assimilate to begin with or where that urge originated from. Featured as both friends and foes, the Borg have the complexity to last in a franchise that constantly evolves and shifts thematic gears. While some unanswered questions about the Borg are frustrating, it's through this mystery that the Borg have maintained their place as Star Trek's most fascinating and frightening villains.